Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. So, I recently just got a new PC, mostly for a gaming project that I'm working on. Actually, it's an entire channel, and I'm going to be live streaming video game related content. Check the links in the doobly doo for more information about that. But you clicked on this video likely because you are in a position where you want to install R, maybe R Studio, maybe some of the other things, or maybe you're just interested in my unique customizations of things. Well, I recently got this new PC to do this gaming stuff, and I can't bring myself to not have R on it. So let me take you along with me as I install base R Studio, some GitHub integrations, some package installs, and some other customizations and keybinds that I love to do when I am installing R. So let's get started. Let's download base R. So if you are not familiar, R does have a base version. So I'll just go to R install for Windows. Yeah, so CRAN is the place I usually go to download base R. Version 4.1.2 is fairly recent as of this video. In the future, it may be a higher number, but I usually just trust whoever's at CRAN. So here we go. I'll click the top link here to install R. And we'll set this to open and install. So here we go. I just allowed it to make changes to my device. I'll select English. Read the terms. Basically, this is an open source program, but don't use it for malicious purposes. Program files is a good place for me. That's fine. Okay, this is good. Do you want to customize the start? Nope. So the defaults are going to be fine. And then calling your folder R is pretty good. And should be good. You definitely want to associate R with the .r data file extensions. This is going to help for future projects where you download others' R data on the internet. So cool. So now we are installing base R. And base R looks like it's straight out of the 1970s. Basically, you can open it. You can do everything that you can do in R Studio. But basically, R Studio is an IDE or an integrated development environment, I think, for R to fit in. So basically, R Studio is the GUI for R to basically nest inside of. So I will be using R Studio. So let's go to install R Studio. There we go. It's the top one here. And you can check out the prices and stuff. Basically, R Studio is totally free. You never need to pay the R Studio people for anything. But if you are an owner of a major corporation or business, it may be a good idea to get some of these paid services for on-premises servers, additional tech support, and whatnot for your employees. But since I am just an independent person, I'm going to download the R Studio free license here. And the top link is going to work great for me because I'm Windows. And we will open this. Good. So here is the setup. And this looks fine to me. This is all good. Install this. While this is installing, if you learn anything from this video while we're setting up here, make sure to drop me a like. Feel free to leave feedback anytime in the comments and subscribe to this channel or my gaming channel. I've been having a lot of fun doing these channels and videos and streaming content, so I'm happy to have you along for the journey. So it looks like we are done installing here. So let's finish that. And now we don't need to have this browser open at all. What we can do is we can open up, if I just type in, I'm here on Windows 11. You see my recently added, we have R Studio, the base version here, 64-bit, or you can click on R Studio. Let's open up the base R real fast just to, see what it's like here. And so here, you can do 1 + 1 and get the answer 2 in base R. But this, and some people use base R for everything. You certainly can. This is how I learned R when I was first using it. But R Studio is definitely going to be the better place to interact with this content. So let's open up R Studio for the first time. And we see here it opens in white mode. Send the crash reports, why not? Doesn't hurt me too much. And it looks like NVIDIA is thinking that this is a game, so that's great. But here we are. So I am going to view this in windowed mode just so that way my camera doesn't get in the way. You guys can see everything here. And here we are. So first things first, we want to put this in dark mode because light mode is not good for almost any application. And so let's change that. So I'm going to go to Tools, and we're going to go to our favorite location, the Global Options. In Global Options, there are a ton of things that will probably be changing here. But first things first, let's go to Appearance, and we'll set it to a modern theme. Twilight is my favorite. Xcode's also pretty good, but Twilight, I've always used Twilight. I just like Twilight a lot. So I'll apply all of that. It'll ask you to restart. That's fine. Pretty fast. So here we are. So now we have the RStudio that I know and love. It is in dark mode currently, and we have the Twilight code effect. So I can go up here, I could choose a new R script that'll block this down, and as I type, a function of something, it will be yellow for a function. If something is a string, it'll be green, and if something's a number, it'll be this like orange color. I really like this format. This has always been really intuitive to me, but there's a couple other things I want to change too. So next, let's look at keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to go to Tools again and go to Modify Keyboard Shortcuts. And one of my favorite keyboard shortcuts is to just press Control-R to run code. That makes sense to me. That's something I've always done. I don't know where I learned it from, but I realized recently that it's not a base R command. So here it is. So in base R, it's Alt-Enter to run it. I don't really like this. I'm going to do Control-R and then apply that. And so now, whenever I have code that I want to run, like let's again do 1 + 1, I can highlight it and just do Control-R, and it'll run that to give me 2. And so that is a keybind that's absolutely required for me. And now that's set up. The next thing I want to do is go into Global Options and select my package repository. So if you are at a corporation or somewhere else, you may run into problems with this. Basically, this is the network in which you install different R packages onto your device. And so let's change the CRAN repository to somewhere close to me. I am on the East Coast of the United States, and so I believe that there is one that is pretty close to me. And this will just make installing packages a little bit faster, a little bit more convenient if I choose a preferred CRAN repository location. So which one's closest here? Cleveland, Ohio is pretty close. So we'll choose that. Now you can add in second repositories. If you are at a corporation that has sort of data security around their CRAN repository and they don't let you install sort of any package onto your device, you will have to choose a company-specific CRAN repository. Contact your IT department if they know about this. You can set it up here, and you can set up a couple other ways. I actually included a bunch of cybersecurity tips about R in a separate video that will be linked down in the description. So you can go there for more information about this particular step if you're running into problems. But I think I'm really confident having this one CRAN repository. I don't need to have second ones added, and we should be good. So I will apply those settings, click OK, and now I should be free to install packages. Let's install. So install.packages. Let's start off with, and it has to be in quotes, tidyverse. So tidyverse is a package that contains many other packages, including dplyr, ggplot2, just a whole host of things that I'm going to be using very frequently. So let's install tidyverse, Control-R. And you see that it will racket through all of these packages, download all the zip files to my computer, and this is going to cover a lot of the functions that I use in my day-to-day. And as I run into functions that I don't really have, or that I need more added onto, I will install those packages as time comes. But look, so it downloaded all of these packages just in that one tidyverse that I'll likely be using. Read Excel, how could I forget to mention that one? Yeah, so we're good. The next thing I want to do is make sure that I have my profile set up for my GitHub. So I post to GitHub, link to that in the description. And I post updates on a book that I'm writing, as well as a couple other data analytic projects. Something I'd like to do more in the future is video game related data analytic projects, just because I think it holds my interest a little bit more. So that GitHub is going to be the place for me hosting all of that information. So let me double check that I have GitHub connected on my RStudio platform. If I go to global options again, we'll go to Git and SVN, and notice here that by default, it doesn't really detect anything. So what we need to do is get my Git executable, as well as an SVN, and then an SSH key if needed to basically enable version control on your device. All of these can be found in your GitHub settings. If you go to GitHub and maybe in a particular repository for the SSH key, you can enter in all this information, and then essentially your RStudio IDE is going to be interconnected with GitHub. So that way, when you start a new project, like over here, there will be a tab that pops open where you can push and pull information. I do have a separate video on how to enable GitHub and use GitHub in RStudio, but that is a step that I will have to take in the future to get that all set up. If you are a Python user, you can select Python here and select where your Python is located on your computer, and you can execute Python code within the RStudio IDE. So the last thing I'm going to change is some stuff with the actual code. I'm going to change in the code section. I'm going to change some of these settings just so that way the code's a little bit more readable for my sort of workflow and how my brain works. Feel free to play around with these as you want. There's a lot of kind of cool things in here. We'll go to display. So I really like to have rainbow parentheses to allow me to identify where my parentheses are starting and stopping, as well as being able to scroll past the end of the document so that way I don't have code cluttered up with some of the other modules on RStudio. But this seems pretty good to me. And I'm just checking some of this other stuff. Yeah, this all looks good here. Well, no, I think diagnostics, having these warnings is good. So I will check that. I've checked here that the warning is within scope or not in scope for a variable used within your document, as well as being able to warn if you've defined something but you're not using it at all. So it's just wasted space there. So all of these are just good quality of life things. I think this is overall pretty good. Let's apply all those settings, and overall my RStudio should be all set up. So that should be everything that you need to install R and install RStudio onto your devices, including some of the other customization tips that I do when I first install R. Overall, my session is pretty well good to go. I'm free to start projects again, so be looking forward to more videos on this channel as I continue my exploration through network analysis and to look to branch off into other areas of data analytics, including some video gaming content that does this like really interesting overlap between these two areas. Be looking forward to that content, and I will see you soon. Take care.